Hi everyone, Colleen Patrick-Goudreau here from joyfulvegan.com. Welcome to Vegan POV. And Michko welcomes you as well. Michko wanted to be in this particular episode. Most people immediately recognize the ethical problems with animal factories and the products that come out of them, such as chickens, eggs. And so to distance themselves from this obvious and inherent cruelty, they declare that they buy and eat only free-range or organic or cage-free eggs, or eggs from a neighbor's chickens, or from Farmer Joe's hens down the road, or perhaps from their own backyard chickens. So what's wrong with that? Well, here's my point of view. First and foremost, chickens' eggs are neither healthful nor necessary in the human diet. They're loaded with harmful cholesterol and animal fat and animal protein, and whatever few nutrients they do provide are there because the chickens ate plants or they had their feed laced with supplements from plants. And I'll talk more about this and replacing eggs in cooking and baking in subsequent episodes. But in terms of ethics and not health, it seems pretty innocuous, right? After all, hens are females, and as a natural part of the female's reproductive system, eggs are secreted out of the body, whether they're fertilized or unfertilized. Now, a fertilized egg will bring forth a new chick, though an unfertilized egg will not. Obviously, if there's no male, there's no fertilized egg, and thus there's no future chick. So it's not as if you're eating an unborn chick when you eat an unfertilized egg, as some people like to provocatively say. You're not. You're just eating the gelatinous membranes that create the conditions for a chick to develop. Doesn't sound much more appealing, but that's what it is. This entire egg production process, of course, happens without any human intervention or manipulation. So what could possibly be unethical about eating their eggs? Now, on the outset, it's true that there appears to be no exploitation or cruelty or harm, but one needs scratch only beneath the surface to unearth the ethical considerations. There's a very different mindset when you view an animal as a companion than when you view her as a commodity. A local backyard farmer or a backyard hobbyist who keeps hens in order to sell and eat her eggs, they have very different motivations and will make very different decisions than someone who has the desire to care for hens for the hens' own sake. Now, just because someone cares about the hens or raises them for their eggs, it doesn't mean they won't kill them or sell them to be killed when they're no longer useful. Killing unproductive and underproductive hens is done by people who label their eggs humane and free-range and cage-free. It's done by people who declare their hens happy, and it's done on farms called local or sustainable or organic. The bottom line is there is no such thing as a slaughter-free animal agricultural system. So this happens to all hens. Not only are hens killed when they're underproductive, but millions of male babies are killed too. In order to have hens who lay eggs for consumers to eat, they have to come from somewhere, right? They have to be bred. The majority of hens used for egg production purposes on small farms and on large farms are bred in hatcheries. Breeder hens, as they're called, are inseminated, so they lay fertile eggs ready to bring forth chicks who will then supply the egg industry. And of course, these babies, as a matter of course, are sexed unscientifically by people who determine who's male and who's female. Now, if they're female, they're debeaked right away, sometimes detoed, and then they're sold to produce more eggs than they ever would in the wild because of the way we have bred these birds. Now, if they're males, if they're roosters, having no value in an industry that exploits the female reproductive system, they are killed through one of several methods: suffocation, maceration, electrocution, cervical dislocation, or carbon dioxide poisoning. Between 470 and 490 chickens are hatched for the egg industry every year, half of which are male. We're talking about 230 million male rooster chicks who are killed every year at hatcheries in the United States as a matter of course. Operations that sell free-range or cage-free eggs purchase their layers from these hatcheries. But of course, you will never see printed on an egg carton label, "These hens were purchased from a hatchery that macerates male chicks at birth." Or at the end of their production cycle, all egg-laying hens are killed by knife wounds while fighting for their lives, right? You're not going to see that. Every purveyor of meat, dairy, and eggs wants the public to perceive their products as humane and healthy and necessary. So while I encourage you to inquire about the living conditions of the hens whose eggs you eat, I guarantee that unless you probe about the dying conditions, Farmer Joe will not tell you about these hidden realities. So probe. Ask questions when visiting a local farm or a farmer's market or a farm stand. Now, do some people care about the hens they raise, and do they treat them as part of their family and maybe even spare a few as pets? Absolutely. Will they kill them when they're no longer productive? Inevitably. And therein lies the difference between having hens as companions and keeping hens in order to eat her eggs. I believe one of the reasons we're in such a sorry state in terms of our relationship with other animals is because we view them as objects for us to do with as we please. If we could but shift our perception from one of entitlement to one of communality, where we share this earth with other beings rather than dominate them, the world would be a very different place indeed, for them and for us. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you heard, please pass it on. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel and support the production of these videos, and check out other Vegan POV episodes. You can also find lots more detailed information about this topic and more in my Food for Thought podcast and in my book On Being Vegan. Until next time, for the animals, including Michiko, thanks for watching.